Hello everyone, I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Jayson.
And we are father
and son. And today we are going to be tackling 3 movies this time. We are going to be tackling The Mask, Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, and Venom. And some of these movies I'm not really excited to talk about because I don't have a lot to talk about. But the other ones I'm pretty excited to talk about. So let's just dive into the first one. I'm going to start with The Mask. So I feel like this movie is a very crazy movie. And I feel like Jim Carrey does a really good job like going between like the two like characters, like holding it back and then like being very like really crazy when he puts on the mask.
Isn't it crazy how expressive he's able to be behind that makeup?
Yeah. And like does he have like a mask on?
Yeah. That's all prosthetic.
Wait, really?
Uh-huh.
He doesn't like he doesn't like paint his face. This is like a mask.
Yeah, well,
it's like prosthetic.
Yeah, it's all prosthetic. There's no CG to that.
Oh wow! Except for the special effects.
Yeah, of course there's CG in the movie. Yeah.
Right. But
a lot of hand-drawn animation.
Oh really?
As well. Yeah, because it's a cartoon and because he's becoming a cartoon. So there's a lot of 3D stuff. There's also some hand-drawn stuff.
Yeah. And I really like the special effects. They look really good.
I'm second guessing that now I'm thinking about it because a lot of it is kind of 3D, but I assume there's some. Anyway.
Yeah. And then I also like the dog.
That dog was really popular.
Really?
If you go back and read Roger Ebert's review, he makes a big deal out of how great of a movie dog that is.
Oh.
It's like it's one of the greatest movie dogs of all time.
I mean, it's a pretty good movie dog, but but I like how like he does like whatever he tells him to. Like our dogs are not that trained. Especially one of them.
How shocked were you when the dog puts on the mask?
I was freaked out, actually.
He goes, "What the heck?"
Yeah.
That was a big what the heck moment for you.
Yeah, because, well, Dad was, you were, like, expecting me to do that sometime in the movie.
Somewhere in this movie, and it took too long.
I didn't do
I thought it would happen earlier. So, The Mask comes out in 1994, and I don't know if you're aware of Jim Carrey's career, but this is the movie that most put him on the map and made him the big superstar that he ended up being. His big break, of course, was Ace Ventura, which was the same year. So Jim Carrey had like an insane year in 1994.
Oh, wow.
And this coming out after that was the thing that really cemented him as a big new, massive A-list actor.
Yeah. And, wasn't this, like, based on comics?
It was. And
kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about the comics, but...
So the Mask comics were published by Dark Horse.
Oh.
And they were really gritty, like super, like ultra violent, like street level comics.
Oh wow!
And the idea was, and they were really immature. The writing was terrible in those. The art was cool. They were these real like underground looking black and white comics. And they were about like basically serial killers. So the idea was you put on the mask and they were kind of thriller, kind of horror comics. Like basically the idea is you put on the mask and just like in the movie, you lose all your inhibitions. So you do everything you would have ever wanted, and there's not any fear or anything to get in the way. Fear shows you where the edge is. It's very important. And when you lose all of your fear, you lose all your inhibitions, you don't have any blockers to keep you from hurting people and just doing whatever comes to mind. And so you'd have a character who would put on the mask, and he would just start murdering everyone because like it's his world and they're just living it and he can do anything he wants to.
Yeah.
And so the whole point of it, and it was a good idea, it just wasn't real well executed. The whole point of it was, wouldn't it be really scary if you lost all that fear? There's an episode of the new Batman Adventures about that.
Oh.
With Scarecrow.
Oh yeah, that's a pretty good.
Have you ever seen that one?
No.
Well, we take the scarecrow toxin and we reverse it. So instead of you being like horrified of whatever's around you, where you see your greatest fear and it freezes you up, it's the opposite, where you're not afraid of anything.
Oh,
And it plays it as it's just as scary, where it's like people start like playing around on the edges of roofs and stuff, not afraid they're gonna fall off because like, oh, I'm fine, I don't have any fear. So it's about how scary it is to not have fear. The Mask movie takes that whole idea and makes, I don't want to say a character study out of it, but it makes it very character driven, where it's about a guy who kind of finds the middle between like not having any confidence at all and being way too overly confident.
Yeah.
And in seeing like the opposite side of himself, like he's too extremely the other way at the beginning of the movie, and in seeing the opposite of that, in wearing a mask that shows him the like most exaggerated version of himself, he finds a way to find that middle and to actually really be himself at the end. So the idea is that, the whole masks we wear thing, the whole idea is that Stanley Ipkiss is a mask and the mask is a mask, and the guy at the end is much closer to who he really is.
Yeah. And
it's kind of brilliant.
Yeah, I wasn't doing like a lot of research on the comics, but isn't there like a big head?
Yeah, so that's what the Mask of the comics is called.
Oh, really?
He's not called the Mask, he's called Big Head.
That's hilarious.
Because you get a big head.
Yeah.
Did you see anything about the crossovers?
No.
There's a Mask Joker crossover.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Oh, that's probably gotta be like the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
Because Joker.
Well, here's the thing. I've never read that. I've always liked the covers. But it always seemed to me like if the Joker put on the mask, he would just be the Joker.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because what inhibitions does the Joker have? In what way is he holding himself back?
Yeah, he's not really. Yeah, I didn't think of that. And then I don't like the bad guy, the Dorian guy. Yeah. He's kind of just your regular like bad guy, and I like him even less when he puts on the mask.
Oh, really?
Because he's just, your regular like guy.
I like what it looks like.
Yeah, I like what it looks like. He just doesn't like play it like. I just don't think he does a really good job of like acting it out.
Yeah.
I don't think he's. I think he's too serious for the kind of movie that he's in.
Okay, that's interesting. So I was always on the fence about Dorian, and I talked about this in the Rewind years ago, but the big issue I've got with that is, like, I like that when he puts on the mask, he's not suddenly exactly like Stanley Ipkiss with the mask. He shouldn't be that same kind of cartoon character, because the mask doesn't turn you into that guy. It turns you into an exaggerated version of yourself without any inhibitions. So, and like what you've always wanted to do. So, the sensibilities with Stanley Ipkiss are like cartoons and silliness. Like that's what he's into. And you see that at the beginning in his apartment, where he's got all of this like Tex Avery stuff and everything. In his apartment, and he's kind of a wacky guy, but he's constantly holding himself back. And so this is what he would be like if he wasn't careful and wasn't reserved, right? Dorian is just like you said, a generic mob boss guy. Like that's all he is.
That's all he is. But like I feel like he doesn't lose his inhibitions when he becomes the mask. I feel like he's just the same guy, except more ramped up. He's
able to hold himself back in a way he probably shouldn't. That's a good point. There's a couple of places where, somebody will. I can't remember what exactly. I can't come up with a great example, but I feel like there's a moment or two. Oh, I know what it is. It's like the bit where it's like, don't kill me yet, give me one last kiss. And I guess it's like, well, like, he still finds her attractive, so he's doing that for himself or whatever. But there's just something about moments like that feels like he's too reserved wearing that mask. You'd think he'd do more horrific things. Like, he should be more like the big head character.
Yeah.
In the comics. You'd think he'd immediately start mowing people down.
Yeah.
You'd think that, in fact, you know what he should be? He should be much more revengey.
Yeah.
Like, remember the mob boss guy toward the beginning of the movie that, like, hit a golf ball off his face? Mm-hmm. You remember that scene? Mm-hmm. Like, you'd think he'd go find all of his enemies and murder them immediately.
Yeah.
Like, you'd think he'd have different... It's like he's got the same priorities when he puts the mask on. And maybe the idea is that guy is supposed to be so far gone that he's just not that different when he puts the mask on. But I'm with you. I never really got that. But the problem for me is that while he's not, like, a straight-up cartoon... He doesn't turn into that same cartoon character. He does too many cartoony things. Yeah. Because that's not his sensibilities. So he's also... So that bit, like... I guess it's scary in its way, but that bit where like he gets bullets in his mouth and he shoots them out, that seems too cartoony.
Yeah, I mean, I like that part, but
yeah, no,
it's pretty. It's pretty
cool
funny,
looking, but like, where does it come from, or does it just come from Loki? Like, is the idea that the mask is from the god of mischief? So you might not have the Tex Avery cartoon sensibilities, but certain things it does are going to look kind of cartoony anyway, because it comes from the god of mischief. Maybe that's the idea?
Yeah.
I don't know if you picked up on that.
Yeah, it does come from Loki.
Yeah, I just didn't know if you noticed that when that's mentioned in that scene.
Yeah.
Well,
and that's what it is in the comics, too.
Yeah, exactly. So. Yeah, it's one of the best examples, for superhero stuff, maybe the best example of a comic movie that takes the source material and goes very much its own way with it, and, like, quote-unquote, waters it down for the masses, and actually improves the material by doing that. Did you find it very funny? Because I noticed you didn't laugh a lot during that movie.
Yeah, it's... I don't know. It's not that funny. Like, it's kind of just, like, it has some silly effects, but it's, like, I don't find anything, like, that funny. I just feel like the things that it does are, like, good. Like, it looks cool. Like, it looks funny, but not that funny that I would, like, laugh at it. It's kind of just, it's like Roadrunner. Like, you don't really, like, laugh at it, but it's funny.
Okay.
Like,
so you still found it entertaining.
Yeah, it's entertaining.
Because earlier you said you were really impressed with Jim Carrey, but you didn't find yourself, like, laughing out loud at Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
So you didn't, because this was a period where, and some of it's place in time, like, this was a period where comedies like this were very much about one-liners and stuff, and, you'd latch on to something like, somebody stop me, or smoking, or look, Mom, roadkill, and that stuff was all in the trailers, and you're almost, before you go see the movie, if you've been paying attention to the advertising, you're almost conditioned, like, you're supposed to laugh at that stuff. Like, when when that happens, there's a sign somebody holds up that says, laugh now, like you're watching a sitcom.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting that you didn't laugh at that stuff as much, given that you're watching it, like, 25 years after the fact.
Yeah.
And I just wonder if that's not part of it, if, like, the cultural osmosis isn't there, if a new person walking in doesn't have the same experience with it.
Yeah.
But I don't know, because you were very much, like, the target age for that movie, which is part of the reason I showed it to you now. It's like, was I your age when that... Yeah, I was exactly your age when that movie came out.
Oh.
And I was laughing constantly through that movie when it first came out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. And I feel like, the, Jim Carrey movies, like, after The Mask, I don't know if they're, like, before or after, but, like, I feel like they're funnier.
Interesting.
Like Batman Forever and Bruce Almighty and that one that other one that I saw. I've only seen like 5 Jim Carrey movies.
Yeah, I'm not sure what other Jim Carrey movie I might have shown you. Truman Show?
I think.
I think you've seen, which is not this kind of comedy, of course. That's a different kind of movie.
Yeah.
It's not a broad comedy like these.
Yeah.
You haven't seen Yes Man, I don't think.
No. I think I've only seen those like.
Let's do Liar Liar real soon.
Okay.
Because I think you would love that. Okay. And it has the same kind of comedic structure or story structure that Bruce Almighty has. It comes out before that, and is one of his biggest movies, and I still adore to this day. But I've always said that there is a Liar Liar trilogy, because he made 3 movies playing different characters in each of them that all have the same structure and the same character arc and a conceit that gets you there. So you have Liar Liar, and then you have Bruce Almighty, and then you have Yes Man, and each of those is essentially the same movie. But they're all worth watching for some of the same reasons and maybe a little bit of different reasons. Yeah, Yes Man is probably the worst of the 3, but it's still worth watching.
Yeah.
And it has Terrence Stamp.
Who I don't know who that
That's General Zod.
Oh. Okay, so should we go to the next movie?
Can I ask you one more question real quick?
Yeah.
What did you think of the big dance number?
Oh yeah, that's crazy. That one was crazy because he was like spinning around, like a lot, and his head was staying there, and it was pretty funny.
His big head.
Yeah, and he was like dancing that with one lady, and yeah, it was pretty funny.
And it's a cool number.
Yeah, it is.
The whole Cuban Pete thing. Did you, real quick before we move on, because I just thought of this while when you said the big head and he's still is like dancing under it, it made me think of something I never had before, which is there is kind of a correlation, maybe between the mask and the genie from Aladdin. And I wonder if you had that thought at all watching it, being a big Aladdin fan.
I actually didn't. But yeah, that makes sense. I mean, he doesn't try to act like Arnold Schwarzenegger or anything, but yeah.
Yeah, but he does have some cultural references like that.
Yeah.
He has a lot of cartoon references, but he also goes to movie references just like the genie does.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's got that bit where but he goes to a lot of classic movies. He's got that bit where he's like, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. Like he does all the really obvious, like, Cagney and that kind of thing. I think it's from that era.
Yeah. Do you think there's anything else to say before we go into the next movie?
I guess the last thing is just how well do you think the visuals hold up?
The visuals look really good.
I know, it holds up really well. If that came out tomorrow, I don't think you'd question much in it. So some of the CG, whoop. My phone is ringing. I say that you've got a couple of places where the CG it looks a little bit primitive, but it's still pretty impressive, especially for the time.
Yeah.
Where the big wolf face, okay, we can make that look better now.
Yeah.
But by and large, I think that movie could almost come out tomorrow. Almost.
Yeah.
Is that a crazy thing to say?
No, not really.
And then the last thing is, how sad were you getting to the end and not having a sequel to that movie?
That movie kind of needed a sequel.
Did you feel like it should have one, or?
Yeah. Cause I mean, it has a good ending, but I think it would be good if we had if we had Stanley being together, in the middle, with a mask, and having some sort of control over it. And going through something with that.
He basically just be a straight up superhero.
Yeah.
Alternatively, you could pass the mask off to somebody else, but of course the movie wouldn't necessarily do as well if it didn't have the Jim Carrey star power behind it. And it fell through, but there was supposed to be a sequel, and it was supposed to be with Jim Carrey. So they weren't going to do the Evan Almighty thing, where they do a sequel to Bruce Almighty, but it's some other guy. Not even some other guy. It's actually, it's funny because in Bruce Almighty, there's a news anchor that doesn't get along with Jim Carrey's news anchor character, played by Steve Carell, before Steve Carell was a big deal. And then he gets his own movie. Do you know about this? Called Evan Almighty, where the name is stupid because it's not the same premise. He doesn't get the powers of God. He becomes Noah in Noah's Ark. And it's...
What?
And it's not good.
What? How do you even make a movie out of that?
Do you want to see it? Because you could...
No.
You can find out. Yeah, it's got John Goodman in it. Yeah, it's a very strange movie. And anyway, and then, but that makes me think. Before that, with this movie, Evan Almighty, it would be like with Mask 2 if you didn't have Jim Carrey. Like I could have seen them taking the sidekick character who's going after the mask at the end. You remember when he and the dog are fighting over it in the water?
Oh, yeah.
And then have him go off and become the next Mask? And I don't think anybody would see that movie. Like, no one would care.
Yeah. Or that cop guy.
That would be hilarious. The cop guy got it. Yeah. Well, I said, is it sad that it never got a sequel? Of course, you've not seen the worst movie ever made. Son of the Mask.
Wait, is it worse than Turbo Power Rangers movie?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, Turbo got a 0 on a technicality, but yeah, Son of the Mask is definitely one of the worst movies I've ever had to deal with.
I mean, you made that like a 0.5, right?
If I didn't, I should have. All right.
Okay.
You move on to the next one?
Yeah, Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker.
Yeah, man.
The funny thing is, I don't have a lot to say about this movie.
It's just good, right?
It's just good. Like, it's got some flashbacks. It's got Tim Drake in it.
Yeah.
And it's got a Joker guy in it. And...
The Joker guy? It is the Joker.
It's got the Joker in it. And it's got Bruce feeling really sad. And then that's about it. But, yeah, I like the flashbacks with Tim Drake. But I don't... Okay.
Going back to the New Adventures style.
Yeah. But I don't like the... I don't like... new Tim Drake. I think he's just kind of like he's not that like I don't know. It's not that entertaining.
Well, sure, but I think you might have missed the point a little bit with that.
Well, I know. I know, but
like it's really tragic what happened to him, right? Like it's really sad.
Yeah. But, like, even when he's, like, not thinking about that, he, like, I don't know.
But I like that it's not laid on too thick, where, you know, it's complex. It's not like, because they make you think that he might be the villain, and there's another red herring, with the guy that's running Bruce Wayne's company, and then there's Tim Drake as both the red herring and also still kind of the bad guy, but it's not his fault. So you get to a place where you're like, oh man, Tim Drake went nuts. He just lost his mind. And then it's like, oh, they didn't actually throw Tim Drake under the bus. There's this like computer program thing where Joker was able to like save his personality onto a
Yeah, that whole thing's weird.
It's weird, but it's the coolest way they could bring him back without I don't know, like in the context of Batman Beyond, it's believable enough. Like it sounds wacky until you see the movie, and then it feels really clever. They were always, Jason, really careful not to bring back too many old Batman villains in that show, because they didn't want it to just be Batman in the future with all the cast that you knew from the past, and let's just see really elderly versions of everybody. So, like, you've seen the Mr. Freeze episode, but that's few and far between. They don't do a lot of those. There's a Mr. Freeze episode. There's a really creepy thing with Bane. Oh
no.
And if memory serves, and then there's there's a thing with like the legacy of Ra's al Ghul, but there's not a lot of other ones, and so you know.
So what is it mostly?
new villains. I mean, like Batman Beyond has his own has his own rogues gallery.
Oh.
His arch nemesis is Powers, Blight, the evil the CEO guy who like kind of almost ruins Bruce Wayne's company, and then you've got like Shriek, and I mean there's a lot of really cool Batman Beyond villains, and I'll just have to show you more of that. Ink is kind of his Catwoman. I mean there's a lot of really cool villains in that show.
Oh, so all of them end in a K?
No.
Oh.
They're Blight ends in a T. They're very careful in the show not to do Joker too early, and I don't know that they ever even really wanted to do that until they decided to do a movie. So like the most obvious thing to do, of course, would have been bring him back real early at some point. And so when they finally decided to do it was like, we're going to make it a big deal. We're going to make a big event thing out of it. And I've heard Bruce Timm and those guys talk about this, where it's like, if we didn't have a great story to tell, we wouldn't have done it. And boy, did they. It's just spectacular. But yeah, anyway, I don't agree with Tim Drake, because I think that is so wonderfully tragic. But like I said, it's also nicely complicated. Like, he ends up getting a life. He ends up like even though this horrible trauma has happened to him where he's transformed into a Joker kid, he gets to, and he's the guy who murdered the Joker. Like, could you, or I shouldn't say murdered, killed the Joker in self-defense. Could you ever come back from that? And he does. Like, he has a job that he does well and that he likes, and he has a family. But he is always haunted by that. He's always disturbed by it. He's never the same guy. And he's voiced by Dean Stockwell, who's a really great actor, who was from Quantum Leap, and later was in Battlestar Galactica. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah. And also, it's pretty rough for a Batman Beyond movie.
Right.
Yeah. And
not gratuitously so. It all serves the story. It needs to be that dark to tell the story they're telling.
Yeah. And I saw the rough version.
Yeah.
Apparently there's like a not as rough version.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't really know how it does that, like, without being that rough. But
if memory serves, because it's been a long time, and I always forget exactly what it is, because it's been a long time since I've seen the other version. But I think the idea is, and when I reviewed it on Rewind, I accidentally saw the censored version, but I think the deal was, because that was like 9 or 10 years ago, I think the deal was, in the censored version, Tim Drake doesn't kill him with the gun. He, like, electrocutes him or something. I can't remember what exactly it is. But I think that was the big change, is that he actually shoots him with that gun. But I could be mistaken, and I'm sure somebody will tell us in the comments, because I always get this wrong.
Yeah, and I never saw it, like, and I can look it up, or, You
looked legitimately disturbed watching that scene.
Yeah.
Not like it's going to give you nightmares kind of way, but I think you were just kind of taken aback that they went as far as they went.
And especially just, what freaked me out the most is the Tim Drake, like, being the Joker thing.
And it's creepy in the moment.
It's creepy.
Yeah, it's great. There's so much tension and suspense in that movie. It's wonderful. And you know what's great? You get that really, like you said, creepy bit in the flashback, where Joker reveals. I mean, I think this is actually the most disturbing thing in the movie, is when he reveals that they've turned Tim Drake into their child. It's like, good God, that's messed up. And like they've used Joker toxin pretty clearly in some degree to like warp his mind and to put a permanent smile affixed to his face, and you're like, oh God. But what's great is the Joker still remains funny. Like, they always know how to write him. Like, he's got that bit where he's like, where he reveals that he knows that Bruce Wayne is Batman.
Mm-hmm.
And he pauses for a minute. He goes, "What the heck? I'll laugh anyway." Like he's still really funny.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's a good movie. There's not like a lot of bad things about it. It was kind of hard for me to think of bad things.
I mean, it's that good.
Yeah, and I mean, I haven't really, like, I never really saw the, like, Batman Beyond that much, so I don't know a lot, but it's still a pretty good movie.
I think Return of the Joker is a fine thing to watch without the series. I think it does a good enough job of like establishing status quo in a really organic way and just giving you a sense of what that world feels like. I've shown it to people that have never seen that series. Nobody ever seems lost with it. And I think it's a way to get people invested in that show. Like, once you see how rooted it is in the original mythology and you see that background with Joker and everything, for some people I think it's actually easier to then go back and look at the pilot, like knowing that it goes to that place. Because it maybe feels more familiar to some degree, and it also just feels a little weightier. That pilot is brilliant, and it by itself does the job pretty well, I think, for a lot of people. But like I said, I've shown that movie to people that have never seen it, and then they've gotten very interested in the series.
Oh.
Jayson, the transfer on HBO Max is gorgeous. I'd never seen this in HD.
Oh.
And
I mean, it looks pretty good.
It looks amazing.
Because I don't know what, like, the DVD version looks like, or however you saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you think it stacks against Mask of the Phantasm?
I don't know which one is better. I really like Mask of the Phantasm. It's a really good, like, they're both really good, like, flashback movies. And
that's an excellent point.
And they're both, like, they're both basically their, like, series, except in movie form. And a little bit more rough, but not really.
And with the animation ramped up a little bit.
Yeah. But, I don't really know which one is better. I know you would probably say Mask of the Phantasm, but...
Phantasm's my favorite, and I have always put it above Return of the Joker by a little bit. But man, on this viewing, I found it tougher to call. I think it's closer to the quality of that story than I ever give it credit for, honestly.
Yeah. Do you think there's anything more to say about Return of the Joker? There's, like... It's really funny, because when you said, like, let's watch Return of the Joker, and I'm like, wait, the NES game? Like...
That was based on something?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you didn't know it was a Batman Beyond thing.
I didn't know there was a Batman Beyond movie. And then...
I'm always talking in shorthand. Like, I forget that you don't know things like that sometimes.
And then I researched it a little bit when I was taking notes, and I had seen that cover before. Like, looking through your DVD collection, and I didn't even realize it was, like, Batman Beyond.
That's funny.
So I'm kind of excited to go to Venom, because Venom's a crazy movie.
So I've done a ton of material on this.
Yeah.
And just recently did another commentary, so I'm gonna sit back and relax and listen to you talk about this. I cannot wait to see what you thought of it.
So we've got 2 crazy movies and 2 disturbing movies. Not disturbing movies. 2, very, like, what's the word? Like,
I don't know.
Just a minute. Depressing movies.
Okay. Wait, we're only reviewing 3 movies today. Was there some overlap in there?
Uh-huh. Venom is a crazy movie and a depressing movie.
Oh, you think it's a depressing movie?
Uh-huh.
Okay, all right. Sure. Yeah, I mean,
So-
there's a tragic story in there if
Yeah.
you're invested. Yeah, sure.
Which I'm not, but,
So you're saying ostensibly depressing.
yeah, it's depressing, but it's also very boring, so, like, so I really like Venom. I like the Venom voice, and that's about...
Apologize!
And that's about the thing that I like about it. I'd call that a 0. And I also like Eddie Brock. And I like that he's able to go between those two voices. It's really funny.
And you know who that is, right? Tom Hardy.
Yeah, Tom Hardy. He played Bane in Rises.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And now he's doing another really silly voice.
Yeah.
Do you have the thing I do? Where you want to go back in and you want to record all of the Venom lines in the Bane voice?
Yeah.
It's like, of course.
Yeah. Of course.
Give me just a second. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Okay. But yeah, I feel like in the beginning, there's like too much backstory and it's kind of boring. Like just in the first like half an hour, it's pretty boring.
You're looking at your watch waiting to get to Venom?
Yeah, I'm like, when is Venom coming? And I didn't realize.
You turned into Ian Malcolm. You are at some point going to have Venom in your Venom movie.
But yeah, I was waiting for Venom to come, and also I was waiting for the scene in the trailer to happen. But I didn't realize that it was the last scene in the movie.
Sony does that a lot.
Wait, really? That, like, the last scene is what they use for the trailer?
Mm-hmm. They did it with Amazing Spider-Man 2. You see
really?
the final frame of that movie in the trailer.
What?
Where he's, like, spinning the manhole cover.
You gotta have, like, something that's in the middle. You can't have, like, the final thing that happens.
Tell me how it ends.
Like, spoiler alert, he becomes Venom. But, like, I mean, I know we knew this already, but still, like, if you did it for, like, a different movie, like...
I used to think that maybe that scene was supposed to at some point be earlier in the movie and then they changed it to the end. I don't know if I agree with myself at this point after watching it again a couple times in the last month, but...
Yeah.
I used to think that.
Also, I don't like Carlton Drake. He's a crazy person. Like,
he's a boring crazy person.
Yeah, and he's like, he's got like glasses on and he's still a crazy person. And he like takes people...
Wait. What does that sentence mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
Crazy people don't wear glasses. So like right now, no matter what I do, I can like just put my hand on your face the rest of this time.
No.
But if I'm wearing glasses, I'm not crazy. Now, look out!
No, I'm talking about people that...
What? He's got glasses. He's still crazy.
See, here's the thing. It depends on the person that has glasses on.
What do glasses have to do with sanity?
I don't know.
I'm sorry. We can move on.
Let's start over.
Let's start over.
Okay. But yeah, he's a crazy person.
So we watched Venom. It's got a man sitting in a lobster tank. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that part. Yeah, that part's disturbing.
I had so much fun just watching that scene.
Yeah. And he bit a guy's head off.
Piles of bodies, piles of heads. Your eyes in that scene just kept getting bigger.
And but yeah, Carlton Drakey. He wants people. I don't even know like what he's trying to do, but he's trying to get people to like die. Well, like until there's a person who like actually gets like infected. Who actually like becomes strong and crazy and stuff.
Yeah, he's using people as guinea pigs.
Yeah.
And he's taking shortcuts and he doesn't have regard for their lives because he thinks he's looking at the greater good from his perspective, but he's also just kind of power mad.
Yeah.
He's got your kind of typical Bond villain plot where he's like, well, we're going to destroy our ecosystem and not be able to live on the planet anymore. So, like, anything I do is justified in saving the human race, which he thinks he can do via symbiotes.
Yeah. And then also, Anne won't let him, Eddie, explain, like, getting them fired. Because she probably doesn't even know that he also got fired from his job.
Well, at that point, she wouldn't care, though, because the whole idea is he used her, like, he broke into her computer and took her information that she had on Drake, and that's how he went into that interview and started, harassing Drake, and that's why he got fired. And then she got fired because it came out that he, got that information from her. And that whole thing I actually like okay, because the whole idea is, like, parasites, right? So he doesn't like Drake because he's using people like a parasite, right? But he used her also like a parasite, and Venom, of course, is a parasite. So that's the thematic crux of the whole thing. That works okay.
Yeah. And then the other...
I'm not a parasite!
And then Riot is crazy. He's got, like, all these guns and stuff, and it's awesome.
You know what the big complaint from people about Riot was? He does all the Carnage stuff before we get to Carnage.
Yeah.
Did you have that?
Yeah.
He's got the, like, blade hands and everything?
Yeah.
And the next movie's gonna be Carnage. None of that stuff's gonna be cool. We've seen it already.
Yeah. Except he's black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Carnage is gonna have, like, machine gun hands or something. We're gonna have to shake it up in somewhere. He's gonna have, like... Well, he can still do the scythes and stuff. We didn't really have that, but,
Yeah, but I am kind of not excited for Venom 2.
Yeah.
But I'm also excited for Venom 2 because now we don't have to spend half an hour waiting for Venom to show up.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Sick of these setup movies, huh?
Uh-huh. I don't like these setup movies.
What do you want that second movie to be? Do you want it to be a little more sober and smarter and like a more traditionally good story?
Yeah.
Or do you want it to go off the rails and be even more insane than this was?
I mean, I kind of want this to be a good story, but I don't think that's gonna happen. But I still want them to try. Like...
Yeah.
I don't want this Carnage symbiote to just fall out of the sky, and then while like this red-haired dude is sitting on a bench, and then he becomes Carnage. Like,
that's a good point. I'm wondering how he ends up being Carnage, because you know that Carnage is a spawn of Venom in the comics.
a spawn?
So Venom is essentially Carnage's father. Like that, he asexually has an offspring, which is Carnage, and I don't know how they're gonna play that where it doesn't seem too convenient that the guy that interviews him right at the end of this movie in the after credits, is like the father of Carnage.
Yeah.
And it will be really funny if it turns out that it happened in that scene and we didn't see it. If, like, he left a piece of the Venom symbiote behind as he walked out of the jail or of the prison. I hope they don't do that.
I hope they don't do that.
But I had that thought. It's also possible that he'll just have, like, I bet this is what they'll do. I bet he'll have, like, multiple interviews with Cletus Cassidy.
Yeah. Is Cletus Cassidy, like, a character?
Oh, yeah, that's Carnage.
Oh. I thought it was just made up.
No. Well, you've read the first issue or two of Maximum Carnage, and
it's
that
been a while.
sets up Cletus Cassidy at the beginning, yeah. But we should get back to that.
We should get back to that. Okay. I don't... Let's see.
Do you have anything else about that movie?
Not really. Because, it's a crazy movie. And It's all the 30 minutes. The first 30 minutes are boring and depressing, and it's backstory, and yeah.
How did you feel about the action in that movie?
I actually liked it.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Because a lot of people found it really dull and routine, and one of the many things that reminded them of just a mid-2000s superhero movie. DJ complained really hard about how boring that car chase is.
Okay. I mean, yeah, that's
But
pretty.
you thought it was fine.
Yeah. Anyway.
Do you remember the part where they're in a car, and then there's this drone that's hovering, like, right behind the car, and they don't see it?
Mhm.
It's, like, right in the...
Yeah, it's like right there.
You should be able to see it from your rear view, but nobody sees it?
Mhm. Don't people know how to drive a car? Like, don't people like look at the distance that other cars are driving, and possibly drones that have cameras on them
You think so?
that might also have like projectiles?
But sometimes filmmakers like to treat movie logic like that means anything the story needs a character not to notice, they don't.
Yeah. I don't like it very much.
Well, we talked about 3 movies, Jason.
Yeah, that was crazy. I didn't, and I mean, I'm glad that we did that though, because I only had like a few things to say about each movie.
You don't want to do 40 minutes to an hour on each of
I didn't want
those.
to do like an hour on each of those.
We should do more shows like this.
Yeah.
Because there are some movies that we've ended up skipping talking about because we didn't think we could get a whole show out of them. And we could put them with some other movies.
We would have to watch them again though.
I don't mean anything that we had that with. We would want to go back and watch them, but I'm just saying in the future, if we have that, where we're like, well, that we can't really get a whole show out of that. We could just go, let's go watch some other movie and then talk about both of them.
Some other random movie.
Maybe at some point we'll end up talking about Follow That Bird.
Yeah.
Remember Follow That Bird?
Uh-huh.
That was a movie about Big Bird in the 80s.
Yeah, and it's crazy.
Okay,
I feel like every movie is crazy.
rank these 3 movies for me, Jason.
Oh, jeez. I think probably, I don't know.
I know what's at the bottom. We can start there. I know what number 3 is.
What?
No?
What do you think?
You're gonna put Venom over The Mask?
No.
You're gonna put Venom over Return of the Joker?
Well, definitely not. But I was thinking maybe over The Mask.
Okay, well you do whatever you want to.
Yeah,
You'll be
I'm thinking
wrong if you say that, but you do whatever you want
Number 3
to.
is Venom, and then Mask.
I'm sorry, I don't
and
mean to
then
pressure
Return
you,
of the
okay?
Joker.
I don't mean to pressure you. I don't want you to think that you're gonna get grounded if you put Venom over The Mask.
Wait, grounded?
I was joking.
Alright. Bye.
Oh wait, that's the end of the show. So did you put Return of the Joker at the top?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The Mask is good, but I feel like the Return of the Joker had less bad things.
It's totally fair to put that above that.
Yeah.
That would be harder for me, but at the end of the day, I'm not actually sure what I would pick.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm not going to do that right now.
Yeah. And it's
but
probably the same as me, though.
if I had to, it's probably your list. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you wrap up the show, Jason?
Okay. We talked about 3 movies. And
We sure did.
It was pretty cool. So, I was Jason.
And I was Captain Logan. And we were father.
And son.
Later, folks.